Hi, welcome. My name is Zaya, and this practice focuses on stretching the legs and the hips to help alleviate low back pain. This practice was customized for Raina, who loves things like downward facing dog and pigeon and forward folding, but never gives herself the time to actually stretch after she does her strength-based workouts. And she has chronic low back pain and finds that stretching actually really helps. We don't use yoga props in this particular practice. Raina doesn't have any at home. So all you'll really need is yourself and a wall space. And if you do have yoga blocks, you might find that useful if reaching the floor and stretching is challenging. If you don't have yoga blocks, you can use cans of food to help reach the floor. As always, please take care of yourself when you practice, make modifications as needed, and reach out if you would like a practice customized for you. Let's make our way into child's pose. You can start by kneeling on the ground and then take your knees wide, keep your big toes together, and then walk your hands forward. And as you do, see if you can keep pressing your hips back and down so that your spine gets really long. And then eventually bring your forehead down to the floor. Soften your elbows so that your forearms rest down. And take a big deep breath in and a full exhale out. We'll begin with about 5 rounds of slow breath. And you can imagine that your breath is reaching down into your low back. And perhaps you even feel on the inhale a sense of expansion in the low back and maybe even as low as the pelvic floor. And exhale, just simply inviting more release and more letting go into gravity, into the support of the floor. Then prop yourself up onto your hands. We're going to walk over to the left with our upper body so that our belly drapes over the left thigh. You can take your left hand and just place it right next to your left knee. And your right arm is going to reach at a diagonal and go ahead and lay down into a side bending child's pose. You can rest your head onto your upper arm if that's comfortable, or you can just rest your forehead toward the floor or onto the floor. You can use your left hand to push into the ground and shift your hips back and to the right. And let's take another breath or two into the right side of your rib cage and your right waistline. And we'll walk ourselves over to the other side. So right hand comes closer to your right knee. Left arm reaches out to the diagonal and stretches down to the floor. Head rests anywhere comfortable. And then use your right hand to push into the ground and to shift your hips over to the left and back. Breathe into your left side. And come back through center. This time, bring your knees a little closer together. Of course, if that's not comfortable, just keep them wide. But with the knees together, our belly gets pinned down to the thighs, and then the breath must move into the low back since the belly is compressed. And if your forehead can't comfortably reach the floor here, you can stack your hands or make fists and place your hands or fists underneath your forehead. And we'll take another couple of breaths into the low back. And let's make our way to tabletop, shifting so that our knees are underneath the hips and hands are underneath the shoulders. And then take a big deep breath in, and on your exhale, push into your arms to round your upper back and tuck your chin and your tail. And inhale, reverse that, stretch out your belly, open your chest, and lift your head and your tail. So exhale, rounds the spine. And inhale, moves you into a back bend. And you want to see if you can find the end ranges of motion of your spine. So see if you can juice the movement all the way to the last drop. And linking the breath with the movement so that for the entire time that you are exhaling, you're rounding your spine. And for the entire time that you're inhaling, you're back bending. And then find a neutral spine. Take your left leg back and up. Now, as soon as you lift your leg up, did you notice that you dumped in your lower back and sort of hammocked into your belly? If so, correct that by drawing your belly up, tucking your tail slightly, and thinking about pressing your left leg back rather than lifting really high. And we'll hold here. Take a few deep breaths. We're just warming up the muscles on the back of the leg, which is what we're going to be stretching throughout this practice. And then we'll bend the knee. Take the knee out to the side like you are a dog at a fire hydrant. And then tap your knee to your left elbow. And then reach back up to the side. Take your knee to point towards the floor and straighten your leg out again. And we'll do that 2 more times. So bend your knee, knee out to the side. Try to keep your thigh high as you come forward. Back around to the starting position, straightening your leg behind you. 1 more time, keep your belly firm. So you bend the knee out to the side, tap knee to shoulder or elbow or maybe wrist, whatever you can reach. Back around, extend your left leg, take a big deep breath in, and exhale, send your left knee back to the floor. Let's come off of our hands, roll out the wrists, roll out the shoulders, and we'll return tabletop. Extend your right leg back and up. Firm your belly. Slightly tuck the tail. If we untuck the tail and dump in the low back, then we're not actually using the back leg muscles to get our leg lifted. We're more just sort of tilting the pelvis to lift the leg up. And so you really want to try to isolate the back of the leg muscles by lengthening through your low back spine and getting strong through your belly. We're going to bend the knee, take the knee out to the right, and all the way around to the front arm, and then back around. Keep the belly firm in the transition, and straighten out your leg. 2 more times. Bend the knee, knee out to the side. Keep the thigh high as you rotate around to the front. Keep the thigh high as you go back, and eventually straighten out your leg. And 1 more time through. And straighten out your leg. Really good. Take your knee down, curl your toes under, walk your hands forward a little bit, and then we're going to reach the hips up and back. Give a big push of the hands into the ground. And then let's bend into the right knee really deeply. You can take your right heel way off the ground and sink your left heel towards the floor. Straightening out through the left leg as much as comfortable. And keep pushing through your arms as a way to keep your spine long. We'll switch sides. Lift the left heel. Drop the right heel as you bend deeply into the left knee. And then bring both heels up, straighten both legs, and slowly sink the heels down towards the floor. And we'll inhale, rise the heels high, and on your next exhale, drop your heels toward the floor to whatever degree you can. Inhale, rise, and exhale, lower. We'll inhale forward into plank pose, and then lower all the way to the floor. All right, untuck the toes. We'll take our forearms in front of us with the elbows slightly in front of the shoulders or directly under the shoulders. Good, and from here, roll the shoulders back and lift long on either side of your neck, so that you're not just throwing your head back and opening the front of your throat, but there's length through all sides of the neck. And then push down into your forearms, push down and sort of away from you. And that'll help to tip your pubic bone into the mat a little bit. And then press your pubic bone down to lengthen your low back as you lift your chest up and forward. Another couple of breaths here. Good. And then we're going to lie down, stacking our hands underneath the forehead. The elbow can go wide. And once you lie down, you're going to separate your legs a little bit, bend your knees, and windshield wiper your shins side to side. And see if you can release any gripping you have through your hips, through your low back, and let your legs just flop side to side. Good. And then straighten your legs out back behind you again. Curl your toes under. Bring your hands by your ribs. And we'll press back to tabletop and into downward facing dog again. Take a big deep breath in and exhale. We'll step the right foot forward between the hands, coming into a lunge pose. And you can play with dropping your hips a little bit down towards the ground as you extend your chest forward. See how that feels versus hugging your thighs together. So squeezing that right thigh back and that left thigh forward. Some people will need different things for the low back here. I personally enjoy pulsing between the two. We'll just stay here for another round of breath. And we'll take a big deep breath in. And on your exhale, push your hips up and back. You can keep your back heel pretty high here as you fold forward over the front leg. Now see if you can wrap your right hip back so that your left hip comes forward a little bit. And really strongly push down into your feet. Take one more deep breath. And then bend into your right knee. We'll take the left knee to the floor and walk the right foot out to the side so that our hands are on the inside of the front leg. From the front, you can see that as I inhale, my right knee goes out to the right and I come to the pinky edge of my foot. And as I exhale, I find the big toe edge and squeeze my thigh strongly into my upper arm. So inhale, open. And exhale, squeeze. And we'll just do that about 3 more times for a total of 5. Good. And then walk your right foot back to the center. Pick up your back knee and we'll step forward into a forward fold. Let's separate the feet a little bit wider than the hips. Bend into both knees and allow your belly to drape over your thighs. Release your head. You can interlace your fingers at the base of your skull and sort of hug the heels of your hands into your head so that the weight of your arms drags your head down towards the floor. And you get a little bit of release through the neck, spine, and maybe even lower into your low back. And if it's comfortable, you can begin to straighten your legs, but not if that causes you to round your back or grip through your torso at all. So we want to stay pretty soft and released into gravity. And let's just take one more deep breath here. And then we'll turn our toes out wide and sit into a squat. Feel free to keep your hands down if it's hard to balance here. Otherwise, take your hands to heart center. Lift your chest up. Deep breath in. Full breath out. Deep breath in. And full breath out. All right, let's take our hands back to the floor. Return to a standing forward fold and heel toe your feet towards each other so they're underneath your hips. And we'll take the right leg back. Coming into a lunge. And we can play with separating the legs and letting the pelvis sink down. And then hugging the legs towards each other, feeling the lift of the pelvis. And back and forth a few times. And then push into your hands and straighten your front leg to lift the hips up and back. And keep that back heel lifted. And we'll take that left hip and attempt to really wrap it back. Good, and bend into your left knee. We'll take the right knee to the floor and walk the left foot out to the side so that your left hand can come to the inside of the leg. And we'll inhale, bring the left knee wide, come to the pinky edge of your foot, and exhale, hug in. And we'll do that 4 more times for a total of 5. And once you've completed your 4, we're going to take the left leg back to the center. Take your left hand to the outside. And we're going to reach back into downward facing dog. Take a big deep breath in. And full exhale out. We'll lift our right leg up towards the sky. Take the right hip on top of left and bend your knee. Take a big deep breath here as you lift your knee a little bit higher. And then exhale, bring your right shin to the floor right in the center of your mat. And then take your right shin off to the back edge of your mat and plant your left foot down so that it's in line with your right knee. Take a big deep breath in, reaching your right arm up towards the sky. And side stretch. Try to stay light in your left hand so that you're using the strength of your belly to keep length in your torso. And then we'll bring both hands down to the floor. And you can come low onto your forearms or stay up high, your choice. We're going to shift forward with our hips and back. Good. And then we're going to walk over to the front of our mat and swivel our right shin to that starting position. And we can take the left heel up towards the ceiling again. And we're going to make our way into pigeon from here. So push into your hands to shift your right shin a little bit more forward towards the top of your mat. And then bring your left knee down. And you can walk that left knee back. And we're going to just try to press the foot into the ground. And then imagine that you're squeezing your legs together just a little bit. So a little hug. That right thigh shifts back, that left thigh shifts forward. From here, take a big deep breath and push into your fingertips to lift your chest. Stay here on the exhale. Another deep breath in. Full exhale. One more time, deep breath in. And then exhale, we're going to fold forward over the front leg. You can stack your hands underneath your forehead if that's comfortable. And go ahead and untuck your back toes. And once you're down, you can explore with really subtly shifting your hips left and right. And so long as your knee is okay with that, you might find some interesting nuances in the stretch as you pulse side to side. You might discover a whole pocket of tension if your hips are at a slightly different angle. And so feel free to keep this dynamic and moving, or to stay still where you find tension and just breathe into that space. Good, and push up. Come back to your hands, curl your back toes under, and we're gonna make our way into down dog. You can strongly push into your hands to reach your right leg back, lift the hips up and back, and then pedal the feet here in place, side to side. Let the hips dramatically drop over towards the bent knee. And you might even start to stretch out the sides of your waist as you do that. You're going to take your left leg up towards the sky. Take the left hip on top of the right, bend your knee. And on your next inhale, lift your left knee a little bit higher. And we'll take the left shin onto the mat between our back foot and our hands. And then swivel your left shin off of the back of the mat. Step your right foot down and come up. Make sure your right foot is in line with your left knee, and inhale your left arm up towards the sky. And exhale, side bend. And rise up. We'll take our hands down to the ground. Forearms can come down if you've got the flexibility for it. And we're just going to pulse forward and back. Good. And then come back up to your hands. Walk your hands towards the front of your space and swivel your shin back. We're going to push into the hands to lift our left knee and shin up. Drop forward a little bit more for pigeon pose. And bring that back knee to the ground. You can walk your back knee back a touch and then walk your hands back. And from here, we're going to hug the thighs towards the hips. And strong front foot pushing into the floor. And reach your hands down to lift your chest up. And we'll breathe here. Fully in and fully out. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. One more round of breath. I should mention, if this is crunchy on your low back, you can keep it lower. Yeah? Okay, and make your way all the way down, untucking the back toes. Give your forehead patting if you would like, and then a rocking side to side. Continuing to rock if that feels good, or hanging out at a particular position that gets into the tension the best. We'll stay here for several rounds of breath. You can really take advantage of those exhales, releasing your effort, releasing your tension into the earth. And come back up to your hands. Curl the back toes under. Push into your hands to lift the left leg back into down dog. And then go ahead and pedal your feet out. Allow your hips to swivel side to side. And walk your feet slowly towards your hands. We're going to take a really slow walk. And as you take one step, you can really just bend the other knee and hang out there and stretch the hips. And then take a baby step with the other foot and bend the knee. And eventually make your way to a standing forward fold at the top of your space. If your legs are straight here, think about tipping forward towards the front of your feet. Release your head. And then bend your knees and bring your bottom to the floor. We're going to end practice using a wall. You can take your mat, if you've been using one, and put it so that the short edge is against the baseboard. And I recommend that you take your computer and put it next to you so that you can easily turn your head and have a visual about what we're doing. So begin by placing your feet on the wall with your knees bent, and then lie back. Then from here, we'll take the right leg up towards the sky, flex your right foot, and then take your right ankle over the left knee. We're going to keep the right foot flexed the entire time. If you notice that you're not getting much of a stretch, you're going to scoot forward towards the wall, and your left knee will end up bending much deeper. If you notice you're getting too much of a stretch, or that your bottom is up off of the ground, then you're going to scoot away from the wall. In either case, you're going to actively press your bottom down into the floor and press your right knee towards the wall in front of you. You can use your right hand for help if you would like. And then we're just going to use the left knee to move the whole shape left and right. So you can just sort of rock that knee in and out. And you'll notice that either the movement feels really good, and this is similar to what we did in pigeon pose, or that there's a particular angle that really gets into tension in your hip. So go ahead and explore this. And we'll explore this for a couple of rounds of breath. You can close your eyes if that feels comfortable. And continue to breathe deeply. And you can take your right foot to the wall, Reach your left leg up towards the sky, flex your left foot, bring the ankle over the right knee. Press your pelvis into the floor and push your left knee forward towards the wall. And then right knee goes in and out to explore the whole outer fan of the hip. Closing your eyes, deepening your breath. And take your left foot to the wall. And let's hug both knees in towards the chest. And you can rock side to side, massaging your low back. Roll off to the side and sit up. We're going to curl up into a little ball here, right at the wall, with the whole outer edge of our body against the wall. And then we'll bring our forearms down. And before you lay all the way back, sort of walk your hips towards the baseboard and send your legs high up. And you can either rest your hands on your belly or off to the sides, whatever suits you here. We're going to be here for just a couple of minutes, and then we're going to end with some low back tractioning, which should feel really nice. So in this moment of rest, you can close your eyes, soften the muscles of your face. Allow your shoulders and arms to drop into the support of the floor. Release any holding in your belly. And when you feel the impulse to exhale deeply, you can do that out the mouth, releasing any residual tension, letting whatever can go, go. Take a big deep breath in. Full exhale out. We'll come into a butterfly position with our legs. So bring the bottoms of your feet together and your knees wide. Draw your heels down the wall towards your pelvis. You can do several things from here. One, this might be just enough. You can rest here. 2, place your hands on your inner knees and press your thighs gently towards the wall. Or 3, if you would like to play with that low back lengthening and tractioning, take your hands to your inner thighs, close to your pelvis, and then strongly press your thigh bones towards the wall in front of you. So you're attempting to straighten your arms as you push your thighs forward. And you should feel some sensation in the low back, some tractioning through the spine there. And we'll bring the thighs together. You can flatten your feet at the wall here, hugging your knees towards your chest if you would like, or just letting the wall do the work, and relax your arms here. And then roll to one side and come on up to a seat. You can bring your hands to heart center or anywhere else meaningful to you and take a moment to reflect with gratitude in all of the ways that you have your strength and your ability and your health. And of course, gratitude for all the lineages that inform this practice and the opportunity to move together. I recommend after this practice that you stand up and take a 3 to 5 minute walk and just let your legs and hips come back into relationship to your low back in a more functional way. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful rest of your day.